Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Quest Cast. It's Brent Mukai, Brent's Quest here. And today I'm not joined by Garrick. He was a little busy, but I got somebody that is, honestly, one of my oldest Lorcana friends. We've known each other since almost the beginning at this point. Judge Phil. Hello,
Hey,
hello. Welcome.
thanks for
Judge,
having me.
yeah, thanks for being here, man. For people who aren't in SoCal, because I'm just gonna lay it down. You are like, if not the most well-known SoCal Lorcana person, one of the most well-known SoCal Lorcana people. But for those not in SoCal, tell the people about a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your what you do in the Lorcana space.
Sure. So my name is Phil, and essentially I started Lorcana at the very beginning. And when I noticed that stores just didn't have enough product, or players who really wanted to play the game couldn't find places to play, I started organizing. And I wanted to learn the game at a very foundational level. So I wanted to be able to teach people how to play, get players into stores, and from there I just built up this huge network in Southern California where my website, the IE Enchanted, so ie-enchanted.com, you can find, like, we have over 100 stores listed. We have over 200 weekly events if you're trying to find games. I list all the set champs and stuff like that. So trying to find a place to play in SoCal, that's where you'll find that. And then when DLC Atlanta came up, because at that point I was really into the rules, into really wanting to better myself, I applied for that and I got a position there. And I realized I really like judging because I really like helping people. I really like just ensuring everyone's playing the game fairly and there's nothing nefarious going on, and just making sure, hey, we're all having a good time trying to play the best game we can.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, dude, I saw your post. You have a leadership position in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I don't know if I really posted like fully, but yeah, I'll be one of the appeals judges. The term they call it. It is what the first season was, the deputy head judges. That's pretty much what that role is. So it's exciting.
So what is the hierarchy of judging, I guess? I don't understand. I just thought that there was one head judge and then everybody was just an equal judge, but is there different roles and a
Uh,
hierarchy there?
Anytime you get a large event, essentially, right, the head judge is one or two people, and they can't be everywhere. So definitely they spread out a bit. Like, they give other roles, other people the opportunity to essentially step up and be the point of contact for team leads and stuff like that. So any kind of organization, really, you'll have, the basic floor judge. I should say basic, but the floor judge. You'll have then team leads who have specific tasks, making sure the judges do what they need to do, or have specific roles like deck checks or breaks team, end of round, stuff like that. And then you'll have the deputy head judge or appeals judge, which is essentially we're delegated with a little bit more power, so that if we need to take appeals or do investigations, we can do that, because again, there's only one or two head judges for large events. For
Mm.
Milwaukee, we have two head judges for a 2048 player cap, including then sides as well, stuff like that. Like, you need more than two judges to be able to go around that room and do things. Obviously the head judge has final authorization or authority to do things, but having more people with some authority to then delegate or bring up specific things to the head judge is really like my role right now.
Gotcha. So is that like if there is a particularly tricky like call that maybe I call my judge, they come over, they say, "Hold on, I'm gonna check in," and then they kind of bring it up to you and it goes in that way. Is that sort of
Well,
the way that works?
kind of remember that as a player, every player has the right to appeal a call. So if you don't necessarily agree with the floor judge, you think they might have it wrong, which, let's be honest, all judges are human. Even me as an appeals judge, or at some point, let's say I'm a head judge, even I can get it wrong at that point, right? We're all human.
Mhm.
But the point is to have specific roles, responsibilities, and leadership, so that hopefully, when you get that appeal, you trust that the person appealing is getting it right. Like, so when I come up and you don't agree with the floor judge, I can tell you whether or not I think the floor judge is correct or this is the ruling. Maybe I overrule the floor judge, but generally we're just making sure you have as correct of a ruling as we can at that point.
Gotcha. Well, that's good to know, because I think that there's probably a lot of people listening right now who don't even realize that if they believe that there's something incorrect with what their judge is saying, that they can appeal and ask for like, I guess, where's your supervisor type
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Is that the way that is that
A
closer?
little bit. I mean, and we don't want people to abuse it, right? We don't want people to appeal every ruling. But honestly, if you don't think or if you feel something is off, please, that is your right to appeal and make sure you have a second opinion. So,
Right. And I believe, I mean, I know that you weren't there, but one of the big ones I think that comes to my mind is the Fusad in Australia and all that,
mhm.
because his opponent, the guy who eventually they gave the golden Mickey to and tried to right all the wrongs and everything, didn't call an appeal. He just kind of stuck it. But for a moment like that, right, where it's a big moment, like that is a moment where you can go, I really do think that XYZ is happening here, and I think that I'm allowed to do this. Like, would
Mhm.
that have been a moment where you could use that card?
Oh, definitely. I mean, definitely. Like, and again, it's just if you're not thinking that the ruling is correct, that's where you call in, or if you're unsure, right? Um, Unfortunately for that event, the judge at the table was reading like an older version of the document. The document, obviously the tournament rules has been updated since then, but between the current update and the last update, right, it was like over a year old, and
Mhm.
there's things in there that weren't correct, but um, you'd have to be really in tune with social media or Discord or whatever to know exactly what's the current rulings are for the tournament rules. So if I think the player was Ben, if I remember correctly, or Jesse, but either way, the player
Yeah.
playing Raklam, uh, if they appealed and it had gone to a higher judge, perhaps that judge might have been more in tune and known the correct ruling at that time.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just figure it's good to know. Yeah, right. If you really think that, then like there is an option, because I don't think that I ever. Usually, if a judge tells me something, I'm just like, all right, well, they know better than me. I'll move on. Um, so okay. I want to address the elephant in the room. I'm not talking about Dumbo. Phil, where you were at the CCQ, and I
Mhm.
do want to say this to all of the people listening. This is the precursor here. This is not I'm not clickbaiting anybody here. You're not allowed by the rules and contractually to discuss the inner workings of all the small things. So right here, right now, I'm telling you all that are listening, we're not going to get the inside scoop on like, oh, this
Mhm.
is how the all of that went down and things like that. But I would honestly love to know what your experience was at the CCQ. I mean, like, how was it from a judge perspective? I'm massively curious to find out how everything kind of was for you, because it's one of those where it's not quite a DLC, but it's not
Right,
quite not a DLC. So what
right.
what was the experience like?
Um, I mean, honestly, it was fun. It was good. It was a bit stressful. There was a lot of stakes on the line. We had the 5K on the Friday, then we have a 15K on the Saturday, and another 5K on the Sunday.
Right.
So it was just a lot. And obviously tensions are high. Players are trying to play their best. Players are wanting to make sure everything is correct. And we did as the judges, we did as much as we could. Obviously, there were some hiccups in the software. We had to pivot a few times. Um, but if you're looking at it from a judge perspective, we made sure everything was played correctly and still um, done as correctly as possible. So,
Yeah. Was it would you say it was was it akin to a DLC? Was it kind of like a mini DLC?
yeah, I mean, it wasn't as crazy as a DLC, right? Because I mean, we had like over 300 on the Saturday, under just under 200 on the Friday.
Mm.
So it's a very big event. But DLCs that span like entire ballrooms is a bit more,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but it's still, you know, we staffed about, I want to say 12 to 13 judges, and yeah, we all were constantly on our feet, doing tasks, right? And then, of course, with the hiccups and stuff, I pretty much worked a 40-hour weekend. So Friday through Sunday, it was like 40
Woo!
hours of
What?
just, yeah, it was like 3 14-hour days, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, a little bit less on the Sunday, but just a lot of work. So.
Whew. Are you allowed to talk about like because okay, here in my brain, right? I'm playing in a tournament and I'm doing my thing and then I call a judge and they magically come out and I just assume like all the rest of that time you're just like chilling waiting for somebody to call you, but I don't think that that's exactly how it goes. Like
No,
what are you doing in between all of this stuff? Like you just go into a pod and, and fall asleep
I
or
mean, it would be nice if it was that easy, but no. We're
right.
constantly patrolling. We're constantly walking the floor and making sure that players are just playing nicely, playing correctly.
Mm-mm-mm.
We're not, we try to ensure that everyone's having a fun time. So there are certain behaviors we look out for. So if someone's getting really upset or really frustrated, we try to de-escalate situations. um if and we will catch things like, hey, like this person's deck doesn't seem correct, can we get a deck check on it? Or um like I'll pass by someone and they'll say something, I'll be like, actually that's not how that card works, right? And like let them know the actual thing, so that, because Fabled is the new set, a lot of things rotated out, people are playing cards that haven't really seen too much play lately.
Mm.
um, and if you're just coming into it, sometimes you just listen to your opponent. Sometimes they'll say, "Oh, this does this," and you're like, "Okay, sure, why not?" But as a judge, I'll be like, "No, actually, it doesn't exactly read that way." Like I
Got
had a friend playing in the Sunday Sealed event, and he played that new super rare Minnie Mouse, where when you quest it, you can banish an opposing character with 5 strength or more, right?
hmm
Except it says opposing exerted character of 5 strength or more, and he didn't realize, he didn't fully read the card because it's new to him, stuff like that. So it's just making sure people are playing correctly with the cards that they're using.
Is it is they had a because they had a very high stakes 5K
Hmm.
sealed event. I mean, is that just like way crazier? Like everybody's calling because no, because I can only imagine how many new interactions with off meta cards that you would never otherwise see in other interactions. Does it get crazier for sealed stuff or is
It
it about the
does.
same?
Yeah, I mean, it can, because there's a lot of cards that, yeah, you just like, does this card work the way I think it does? And they're like, and you say yes or no, right? You're just trying to make sure the game is, again, played correctly. So a lot of questions like that about how cards interact. So.
Gotcha. Okay. I do want to talk a little bit about this whole sleeves because
Mhm.
that's like a large part of it. And um here's my thing, man. Like we're all human beings. We're all gonna make mistakes. In Vegas at the DLC, you at one point were like, hey man, you should change your sleeves. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize. I don't think that there's anything like what can players do other than buying 9 sleeves to re-sleeve between each round, right? Like is there something that players can be doing better in terms of like the sleeve stuff? Because I'm not gonna lie, I have definitely looked down and seen like a speck on a sleeve, and I'm like, oh, how did that dirt get there? And I will immediately like fingernail it off or
Mhm.
whatever. But like, what can we do, right? Like to help those situations.
Well, in general, like generally before and after every match, you want to make sure your cards, like your deck, is correct. You want to do like a quick count or whatever. But also while you're doing that, you want to make sure there's no issues with your sleeves. So you want to check for any broken sleeves, any like all sleeves throughout a tournament after you're shuffling 30 50 times right throughout this event. they're going to get some kind of damage, or some of the grease from your hand is going to form one of those dirt spots and stuff like that. And you just want to make sure once you're starting to feel it throughout the event, you want to kind of replace your sleeves. Generally, I think sleeves, people don't think about it, but sleeves are a they're a tool that you need to constantly kind of upkeep. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah,
Sorry
no
about.
problem, no
I don't know if you
problem.
hear. I don't know if the mic is catching that up, but give me 1 second.
Yeah. Please.
But general for sleeves, I would say they last probably a good portion of the event, but probably want to start checking them by like round 6 or 7, because again, it's no one's real fault, right? You're going to pick up cards. Maybe like you need a quick snack. You're going to eat some food. You're not going to go to the bathroom and wash your hands immediately. Or just in general, different people are handling your deck throughout the event.
Yeah.
Right. So I would always do things like double check your card count, make sure you didn't drop any cards, make sure everything is there, make sure you didn't leave a card in your deck box, for example. And then just while you're doing that, just do a quick rundown. Hey, does anything look busted? Does anything stand out? Other things to look out for is just like, let's say when you're doing traveling, you go to a humid event or something like that, double check your foils, because foils will start curving and stuff, and you don't really want that to happen. To make them stand out in your deck or anything like that. So there's a lot of things you kind of just should watch out for and just be prepared for. But definitely sleeves, like I said, it's a renewable resource. You got to just keep buying them. It's a little bit of upkeep, but
Yeah.
it'll make you feel more comfortable. Like you'll notice a lot of players, and I used to be that player too, where I will play sleeves until they're dead. Right, like they're just like dead.
Yeah.
And like you'll get the players like, this is what I caught you in Vegas. I was like, man, those sleeves you've been using them for like 2 months now, right? Like they got the bacon tops. They're like the wrinkly bacon tops, right? You just got to replace them, because the wear on them is just so bad, right? And it's one of the things, like when you notice things like that, then you realize, okay, there's probably going to be lots of dents, dings, marks on these, right?
Yeah.
And we don't want any situation where we're saying, oh, okay, at this point, hey, there might be a pattern here. You might not even there might not be a pattern. Like you might have not done anything, but somehow some invisible pattern might have shown up, and we would just be like, just replace your sleeves, right? Just do yourself a solid favor and buy a new pack of your favorite brand, really.
So bring extra sleeves.
Oh,
bring
for sure.
At least enough sleeves. What would you say is a good amount? So it's a 60 card deck. Let's say that I'm running. I'd probably want more than 60, because then it's like, oh, I can re-sleeve once and then have like another 20 just for ancillary, like, oh, maybe this one card got a little messed up because I was shuffling weird.
So for me, honestly, I would probably just buy 2 packs of sleeves and bring 2 packs of sleeves, right? Your first sleeve is your deck. 60 is fine. And then when you're going to re-sleeve, I would probably re-sleeve everything just to prevent anything from happening.
Phil, yeah.
And then, sorry about that.
All good, all good, man.
And then, I mean, like, because if you think about it, 2 packs of sleeves is going to last you three re-sleeves, right? Because it's 200 sleeves. And then you'll re-sleeve 3 times if you want, or sleeve once and then re-sleeve once and then re-sleeve once, and then you'll have 20 in case of any damages. Like let's say a sleeve broke or something, you can immediately replace it. That's just my opinion. So I will always just for that I will just bring a pack of sleeves. If I go to an event and I just change sleeves, then sure, like I'll just bring whatever the leftover is, like the extra 40 or whatever is in the box, right? I don't see, for a short event like a local event, right? Don't think my sleeves are gonna get damaged enough during that play, but it's possible, and it's possible you just save yourself some time by having the extra sleeves on hand, or saving yourself a little bit of money, because shops charge different amounts of sleeves. They might not have the color you like. Just bring your own supplies, right?
Yeah. Is there a I'm not asking you as Judge Phil here. I'm asking you as Phil the gamer. We're going to go play. Do you have like a preference on sleeves? Do you find like there's a certain brand of sleeves that you think like is more durable than the others?
It's an interesting question. It really depends on the amount of play you do.
Hmm.
And I haven't really tried all of them. I recently tried like Dual Spec, which I thought was pretty good.
Ooh.
Um, but everyone's like, "Oh, they last forever," and I'm like, "No, they didn't last me that long." It lasted me maybe a month, but like of just like not very constant play, but like a few games here or there a week, kind of thing. And like I said, sleeves are you have to replace them like every 2 weeks or something like that. Like if you're playing consistently with your deck. But personally, I use Dragon Shields just because my local store has them for cheap, and I will say the more recent Dragon Shields haven't had any issues with them, and I'll just buy a few boxes so that like if I ever need a resleeve, I just have a ton of the same color and I'm not really worried about it. And I don't because if you just buy one box, then you're left with like 40, and you're like, what do I do with this 40? So you like have to at least buy 2 boxes so you can again like resleeve at least 3 times, and you go, oh well, I just have 20 left over. That's fine, right? These 20 is whatever. When you have 40, you just go, man, I kind of they're
That's
just
an
sitting there.
awkward
Yeah,
number. Yeah, I
it's like the
have
hot
so
dogs and
many.
hot dog buns, right? It's the
I have
equation.
so many boxes full of 40 sleeves for
Yeah,
that exact reason. I need to just buy multiple at a time. That's a good hot tip, people.
but like everyone likes their own sleeves. I have friends that love the Ultimate Guard Cortex or the Ultimate Guard katanas.
I've heard of those katanas.
Yeah, and just whatever you're comfortable with, really. Like I said, I like Dragon Shields. I haven't had issues. People swear that they hate Dragon Shields, or so I'm like, okay, well, uh, it's really what you want. But again, like there's nothing better than shuffling your deck with like that new sleeve feel, and it just shuffles so nicely.
Yeah.
Um, and if you want that consistently through an event, just resleeve every now and then. So no problem, right?
That is awesome. Like, and regulation. I guess to go back to judging a little bit here. Regulation. It has to be completely. You can't be transparent at all. Can't be translucent, right? It
If
has
they're
to be.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're gonna give a little bit of leeway, which was funny. I remember at, one of the DLCs, this guy, bought a new pack of sleeves, but he bought these, like, dragon shields that had, like, the PPG back on them, but they were,
Oh.
like, white, and
Oh.
it wasn't as opaque as we needed it to be, and we're like, "We're sorry, you just bought sleeves, but you kinda have to go get new sleeves." Um but like in general we want it to be very opaque. If you can barely see like the little story star icon on the back, like okay, maybe we'll let that slide because it's really hard to be able to pick up anything off of that. But yeah, in general, opaque. That's why I like Dragon Shields. They have these new dual mats, which is so you can get like a cool color on the back and still have a black inside, so it's opaque, you can't see the cards.
Opaque means we had a whole
Non-transparent,
argument about that.
non-transparent.
Non-transparent. Okay,
Yeah,
completely non-see-through. Gotcha.
yeah. And then there's they actually updated the tournament rules as well, where you don't want anything reflective on the front. So I know there are some
Oh.
cool sleeves out there that have that people use for their collections and stuff that have like glitter or like some like stars or something that's kind of reflective on the front to add a little bit more magic to the cards. But unfortunately, you can't use that for play in tournaments and stuff like that. So
Gotcha. Okay. I want to move on to a different gray area of judging stuff that I encounter a lot, man. It's
sure,
slow play.
okay.
I I have so I've been on both sides because I sometimes, especially, historically after a whole new world, there's 7 new cards in my hand, my whole game
Mhm.
plan's gone, and now I got to think on the fly. And I've been there where I'm sitting there and I'm trying to go through lines in my brain, and my opponent will be like, "Hey man, we're on a clock," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And I'm not trying to. Um, but then there's other people that I will watch, and I'm like, bro, I play pretty slow. You're playing really slow. And people have told me, call a judge, say, hey, do you mind watching? Do you mind watching to just make sure my opponent, I feel like my opponent's moving a little slow. Do you mind if we just watch the pace? Like, do you have thoughts on what I can do as a player if I feel like my opponent's taking a long time, whether I think it's strategically and towards an end or not, if they're just a slow moving, slower thinking person. Like what do you think is the best course of action as a player for me?
I mean, honestly, it's always call a judge, right? Like, that's why we're there. One of the things I like to tell my events that I'm judging is like, hey guys, you're paying to be here. I'm being paid to be here, right? So you definitely want to utilize me because I am being paid to do this, right? You are putting up your own money to play this event, and if you feel like you're being treated unfairly by a different player or something like that, well, now you feel like you're just losing that money, whereas that money goes towards me. So please utilize that service. Call for a judge, right? There's definitely, slow play is a little bit subjective.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I didn't watch the stream for the finals, but I was there on the table watching the stream for the finals at the
Right.
PPG Denver. I let them tank a little bit, right? We're in the
Oh yeah.
finals, right?
And it's unlimited. It's unlimited time, so it
Well,
affects nothing, right?
I mean, unlimited, but there's still venue constraints. There's still, if this was going late in the night, right? Like if the timing and stuff it all factors in. I can't let them play that match for 3 hours, for example, right?
Right.
But it's complicated. There are many things, many lines to think about. And watching Sky think or watching Doug think about how to play through and how to get around what they think might oppress them or do that. It does take a lot of time for that, right? But at any point in time, as a judge, where I'm watching a player and they are like, if I can walk up to a table and I can read the board state and be like, oh, okay, this is like the only line they can play, right? And I can see that within like 20 seconds,
Yeah.
right? And they don't act for another minute, I will have to like, hey, we need to increase the speed. We need to move forward. I need you to take an action, right? And it is subjective. And but unless you call for a judge, we come over there to monitor that, right? We can't say anything. If you get to turns and you go, well, I think my opponent was slow playing me. Can we get an extension? And it's like, well, why didn't you call for a judge when you thought that for the entire 50 minutes of your match? So call for a judge a little early. Let us watch. Let us help you. And you don't have to say it in front of your opponent. You can say, hey, can I speak to you on the side for a second? Sure. Come up, talk to us for a second. Say, hey, blah, blah, blah. I think my opponent is just taking long. We're barely going to have time to finish game 2, let alone game 3. Like, can you watch this for a second? Maybe give us an extension. Sure. We'll take a second to watch. We'll give you an extension as appropriate. We may warn either you or your opponent on slow play, which again, a warning is just a warning, but it's good for us to be able to monitor that. So
I'm gonna tell you this, man. I feel incredibly awkward doing that. I just
no, I get it.
Yeah, and I relate. I relate when I watch an opponent thinking through stuff. I go into my brain and I go, they might be newer. When I was newer, I took forever on decisions because I'm thinking about so many things. And I mean, I still will, and I'll apologize to opponents and be like, I'm so sorry. I'm just taking a sec here. There's a lot in my brain. And usually they're cool with it, but like, yeah, I guess taking it to the side is something that I've never thought about, so that it's not ever like that. But I guess at what point do I call for that?
As
Right?
soon as you feel like it's a problem, as soon as you feel like it's a problem in your game, please call. Right? Like again, we can't unless we're watching your game because we're just there watching your game, right? Unless we're not going to see it. So you really need to call for a judge. And to go back to your first point of just, it feels awkward. Again, I'm being paid to be there where I'm a resource to you.
Yeah.
So call for a judge. If you don't think like your opponent did something correct, call for a judge, right? It's not trying to be a jerk or anything like that. It's just, hey, we're trying to play the game as correctly as possible. And I don't think what you did was correct. And it's better to call for a judge and let us handle it than your opponent feeling like you're trying to trick them or whatever, or
Right.
other things like that. Like, we're here to diffuse that kind of situation. So
What if I call the judge over and then my opponent starts playing faster?
I mean, then obviously, like that's something we can note, right? That's something
Okay.
like you would say, like, oh, I think my opponent's slow playing, and then you return to your table, and all of a sudden your opponent starts speed playing. Then we might stick around for a little bit. We might circle back and then see how they're doing it, because now you're talking like potential, like they're doing it on purpose or they're trying to run the clock, right? And that's stuff that's we would be we would have to watch for, because purposely slow playing is not something we want in our events.
Gotcha. Because there's a guy that like I was playing in one set champs, and I was like, I feel like he's slow playing me, even though it doesn't. And like people were like, yeah, he slow plays and he's trying to run the clock or whatever. And then I played him again in a different set champs where we made top 8. The store owner said it's unlimited time, and he was just as slow. So I was like, oh, this guy just plays slow. He's not like
Mhm.
playing to an advantage. So I'm always like, I don't want to cause an issue or cause a ruckus or anything, but that's a fair point. Nobody's going to be able to know. And it sounds like if there is a case where somebody is just taking a bunch of time, there are exceptions where where it can be worked out, where it's like, okay, well, this person's taking extra time, so we'll take a little we'll give you a little extra time to
Mhm.
play it out. Is that
Yeah, I mean, like, for us watching stuff, we can always give a time extension if needed. And also, in the slow play, like in the play corrections guidelines, slow play even says like extend the end of turn, end of round stuff to like 7 turns instead of 5, for example. So you'll get a little bit of extra. But again, if you don't call it and we don't see it, how would you ever get that benefit?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Here's one other thing that has this whole so I know that it is okay to concede.
Hmm.
I know that you're not allowed to discuss about things like a best of one game for for conceding or whatever. Like there's obviously some people have worked out some kind of way of saying it without saying it and just not asking for a concession, right? In especially in that best of 2 format.
Hmm.
There's all these like little gray area things that that confuse me a bit. Are there gray area, like are there other examples of like these little gray area kind of things that could happen? Because I've definitely conceded to an opponent when like we're gonna reach turn 5. It's literally like they were going to win. I'm at 0. They're at 19,
Hmm.
and they're just not gonna clutch it. And I go, I concede. I don't want to take that from you. You know what I mean? Like, are there other little gray area moments? Are there things, or is that even something that I shouldn't be doing? I'd love your thoughts on these little gray area kind of things.
I mean, um, so in Lorcana and most TCGs, there's this thing called improper match result, right?
Uh huh.
Um, and what that means is that like the game can only be decided uh, in like 3 ways, essentially, right? You either play your match, fully play the match,
Hmm.
you agree to intentionally draw, or a player voluntarily, without being asked to, concedes, right?
Hmm.
So, um, if an opponent asks you to concede, then that hits a gray area that we don't like, which is you shouldn't be asking someone to concede. I know right now in the tournament rules, it explicitly says you cannot ask an opponent to concede, but in the play correction guidelines, which needs to be updated, it is coming out soon, I think. I hope. Um, it says in there like, oh, if you ask multiple times, then it's just a warning, right? But so we kind of balance between that because it's a little bit of a gray area. You'll hear the announcements when we get to those top tables, like, hey, you cannot ask your opponent to concede. Right? We try to remind everybody, hey, we are saying you cannot ask your opponent to concede. Now, if you want to concede, that's completely up to you. Like for you, I know there's a lot of players that, they'll be like, oh, well, if you just give me one, like if we didn't go to time, and you gave me one extra turn, then I would have won, right? And it's true, you probably would have. Is it in your best interest always to concede in those instances? Not always. Is it your best interest to sometimes draw? Yeah, it is. It just really depends on the situation. I have a lot of these events have a lot of teams that play the events, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you as a player see yourself in that position where you're like, oh, this guy had me beat, but we went to turns, I wouldn't have won this game anyways. But if I draw here, does that help my team out? Or if I concede, does this help this player out, right? So there are some things like that happens a lot, right? So there's no way for us to police that. There's no way, like, sure, I can go watch your game and I'll be at the end of the round, I'll be like, oh yeah, Brent, you were going to lose anyways, but I'm not going to ever tell you to concede. That's up to you. That's really up to you.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's like, yeah, it's yeah. It's up to the players at that point. I guess. I guess there's no judge thing.
I will say, just be very careful about, like, if anyone ever tries to offer, like, hey, if you concede to me, I'll give you some pricing. Now that's immediately not allowed. Like, that's
collusion.
Yeah, collusion, bribery, that kind of stuff. It's definitely just not allowed. So never reach towards that. Now, however, if you're in top 4 and you go, hey guys, do you guys just want to split top 4? Yeah, we can do that. I don't really see an issue with that, right? That saves me 3 hours. Let's go for
I know. Let's all hit Taco Bell, baby.
Yeah.
So okay. So I gotta own up to this. I've owned up to it on the podcast, but I didn't realize this.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, like, okay, we can concede, we can do all this. It doesn't matter how we figure that out. So at one of the set champs last season, we went to time because it was like this. It was the slow player, and I had seen other people do this, so I thought it was okay, where you roll a dice and then figure it out, because if we both tie, then neither of us make it into top 8. It's our last match of the day.
Right.
That's explicitly against the rules. Found that out.
Mm-hmm.
Went to go make it right with the person who bubbled because of that, and gave away my promo card and the packs and all of the stuff that I'd won. But other people, and I will not mention any names, but there was a Continentals qualified player who I was talking about it in Discord, and they go, wait, that's against the rules? That's not allowed. So it was like one of those things where I was like, oh, I just didn't think it mattered how we determine who concedes. But are there any other things like that? And I had seen it happen at multiple stores. I'm sure you see it too when you're playing or whatever. Like, are there things that people might not realize are explicitly against the rules, that they think is like this gray area, but it's actually against the rules? Have you seen other things like this that have happened? And also, I promise I will never, ever die roll again, because I now that I know it's against the rules, never again. But other things, like, have you ever seen stuff like this?
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, it's interesting because there are a lot of gray areas again, right? We talk about collusion or potential bribery, that kind of stuff. You may not even know it. There was an instance where a player was like, oh, well, winner, like, they're playing for top cut, and it's whoever wins this game gets top cut, right? And he just says, win or lose, win or lose, you'll get, like, I'll give you the promo. Like, if I win and I get top cut, you can have the promo. And if you lose, and if you win, then you get the promo anyways. But, if I win, I'll just give you the promo, right? Like, he said that, right? And that was a problem, because now we're talking about like getting something for a match result, right?
Oh,
yeah. So I mean, there's like, you think you're being a nice guy, but now it's a problem, right? So again, like, it goes to, like, never offer anything, never talk about anything in regards to prizes being handed out and, like, match results or anything like that. That's one thing. Again, improper match results is one of those things. So you can't, hey, you want to just like roll a dice, because I don't really want to play the game, but, like, one of us has to make top cut, right? Like, goes, you want to roll dice? Yeah,
I've literally watched that happen, and I bubbled out. And the two guys were like, "Why didn't you roll a dice?" I was like, oh, I'm stupid. Why didn't I? And then I got bit in the butt for it later because I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that wasn't allowed. That's why.
I mean, one of the funny things is that one of the things people get in trouble sometimes is they don't realize that if you get deck checked, every card in your deck box, except for the promos that were handed out during the event, are part of your deck. And if your deck is illegal because of that, that's a problem. So people sometimes have extra cards. You know, they'll bring like the bigger deck boxes that have multiple decks, or just like some of the tech cards that they were thinking of switching in or out. They didn't have anywhere to put it. They left in the deck box. Those are problems. And yeah, I mean, like a lot of the gray area stuff is just people trying to advance themselves. I've seen people like I'll walk past a table and I'll hear the player go, "Hey, check your text messages," and I'm like, "Dude, why'd you like?" You know, you didn't realize I was right behind you when you said that, but now I'm like looking over his shoulder. I'm like, what are you doing here, right? So it's just you know, when you're playing Lorcana or you're playing Disney Lorcana or TCGs in general, just play the game.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. It's that simple, huh?
Yeah, it really is.
Play the game. Don't be talking about making deals and stuff unless you're in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
top four and we're splitting.
I mean, price splitting is okay, but trying
Right.
to negotiate the prize split is not like in the sense of like, hey, well, I'm first seed, so if we split, I should get more. Like that's not okay.
Oh,
Once you guys
interesting.
get the prizing, you guys do whatever you guys want on the side, like whatever, right?
Yeah.
But you know, you guys can do an even prize split, and then just call it a day, but don't try to like negotiate anything else, you know?
Gotcha. And to your point about the cards in the deck box, I knew about that one because I heard about somebody getting in trouble at Continentals for that, and I was like, oh, it was in my periphery. I went to the 6K, the SoCal 6K, and I went straight up to John because afterwards I was like, hey man, I just bought an enchanted Cinderella, but I'm not playing even Amber, and also it's an illegal card. Can I just keep this in my deck? Or just keep it in my deck box? And even then he was like, you don't have anywhere else to put it. I'm like, I don't want to walk all the way back to my car, and like I don't want to leave it in my hot car. Like that's still not okay, huh? Even if it's like a completely different color from what you're playing, even if
Yeah,
you're not allowed, huh?
per the rules, right?
Gotcha.
Obviously, like we're human,
Yeah.
and head judges can make exceptions as needed. To just you know, like yeah, okay, you're not playing Amber. It's in your deck box. It's in a completely different color sleeve or something. Like whatever, right? Like for me, I might let it slide. It's going to be case by case. There are certain exceptions we can make depending on it. And if you let us know ahead of time, sure. If we just caught it and you didn't say anything at first, that's a difference, right?
Mhm.
Um, accommodations, for example, always something we're happy to help accommodate with people. But if they don't tell us, we don't know what accommodations they need, right?
Mm.
So that's one of those things too. It's like make sure you get the accommodations, right? People don't realize they can ask for fixed seating or help with certain things, or if they need like electronic devices aren't necessarily allowed, but some people need hearing aids or some kind of hearing devices and stuff like that, right? And they need to ask, not hearing aids specifically, but so other there's I know one of my friends has like she needs an iPhone transcriber, so she'll have like a mic on the table to help hear her opponent a bit more or hear it clearly.
Oh, yeah.
And will, you know, she needs to request those accommodations. Otherwise, we think, you know, well, why do you have this out? So,
Okay. Well, I guess I have a couple more questions for you here. Number one, is there anything that you feel like comes up a lot that you see players are just sort of oblivious to, or whether it's casuals or I'm assuming most of the super competitive guys know the rules super well, but is there any other things that you're like, oh, I wish I could tell more people about this because it keeps happening?
well, first off, you'd be surprised how many competitors don't know the rules. Like,
Myself included.
so
Yeah.
honestly, reading the rules will help a lot. And just you don't have to know them to a T, but kind of knowing the different categories and what's to be expected will
Mhm.
help you go a long way. Like for example, if you don't realize that when you register your deck list, if it's a paper deck list, for example, and you don't write the full name of the card, that could be a problem, right?
Oh.
Like back in the day, people, if you're playing like Amber Amethyst and you write Lilo, generally like, okay, there's only one Lilo you can play in Amber Amethyst at that point. But then there was a point where there's two different Lilos that you could play. Are you playing both? Are you playing what's the count on both of them, right? Like, so there's a lot of stuff where like that's one of the rules. Like you need to have a fully registered name of the card. But in general, it's yeah, like knowing your rights as a player really helps you feel more confident in your space. And if you know your rights as a player, such as calling for a judge is not a bad thing, asking for an appeal is not a bad thing, asking for slow play checks, not a bad thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know that as a player and you sit there and you fume and you get in your own head and now you're missing play lines and stuff like that, it's not good. So I mean, like knowing your rights, reading some of the rules, just understanding how this all goes is generally what you want to do as a player. Like and then obviously there are certain interactions as well where as a player you kind of are expected to know how your cards work, but not everyone does, right? Back in the last set when your Diablos were everywhere and people are like, well, if I let the Storm Rage on a Diablo, do they get to draw? And the answer is like, yes they do, right? So yeah, just knowing how cards interact too is probably, like, knowing how your card will play in the meta is probably a good idea to have too.
Yeah, these little, especially with like the big interactions like that, because
Yeah.
how many times does that come up? Yeah.
I mean, the Tiana right now is like, everyone asks me, it's like, oh, well, if my character goes negative and then is it treated as 0 and then you add the chat? I'm like, no, everything is just recount, like stuff like that, right? Just interactions on cards.
Wait, tell me this. I don't know about this. So it does go to negative. It goes to like -1, and then if you put Challenger on, then it becomes plus.
No, it kind of like everything adds together at the same time, right? But
Oh.
if anything were to be negative at the time after all calculations are done, then you
Mhm.
treat it as 0.
Gotcha. Okay,
Right?
yeah, because you never,
You're never
yeah, you'd
attacking
never.
and like healing a character, right? No, anything would just be 0 at that point.
Okay.
But a lot of people are like, well, I read that it's 0, so then if I give it Challenger, does it, like, no, that's not how that works, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, um, we have season 2 coming up.
Mhm.
Milwaukee's coming up. It's going to be the first NA DLC, and there's new rules. One that comes off the top of my head, and please correct me if I'm incorrect here, but I believe the new rule is that you can actually use a digital device for counting your lore now.
Yep.
So, are there other things that, but I'm sure it's much better to still be on paper, and people have told me if there's a dispute, they will believe the person with the paper more than the person with the digital. Is that more or
So
less correct?
yes and no, right? I've seen people with paper who use like tick marks, right? Or they're like
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do I track that? It's about the same as the digital, right?
Oh.
Being able to like show numbers, show your work. If I can recreate the game based on the numbers here, right, then I can follow back. And if you're not representing that on a written pad, then I can't. Then it's a lot harder to see the discrepancy. I can see like, oh, you went from 4 lore to 6 lore here. What did you quest with? Was it a 2 quester? Was it a 1 quester? Like what should have quested here to get you to 6, right? Why doesn't your opponent has you at 5? So was there a mistake here, right? Like what was it? And that generally helps us like understand those scenarios a little bit better.
Gotcha.
One thing, we're talking about slow play. Well, in the 2-game format, we had 45-minute rounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
In best of 3, while the recommended is 60, we can do minimum 50-minute rounds. And for venue constraints, for time constraints, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because round turnover is so long sometimes, like you don't want a game to go 60 minutes plus end of rounds plus people finding their next seat. So really, you're looking at hour 15 per round. Like, and then you
Yeah.
want to do 9 rounds in a day, right?
Yeah.
So like most events are probably going to run at 50-minute rounds now. So that
Okay.
means you have 5 more extra minutes on top of your 2-game format to play a third game. So talk about slow play, talk about that. Make sure you call for a judge. Make sure you know your time. One thing I always find is funny, talking about things players don't know. You can call for a judge to go to the bathroom. If you need to use the restroom in the middle of the game, like something comes, you just ate a bad hot dog in the middle, and you just gotta use the restroom real quick. Call for a
Oh,
judge. Get a time extension real quick, right? Like feel comfortable when you play. Um,
that is worth its weight in gold on this. you probably just saved so many people UTI.
I had that asked at locals, like, "Oh, we're about to start. I need to use the restroom." I'm like, then go to the restroom. What's the problem, right? No problem here.
Are there other rules? Because that was a big one to me. I was like, oh wow, that's pretty huge that they're letting people do that. Are there any other like big rules that are different now for season 2 that you just want to let people know about? Anything that comes to mind? I know it's a comprehensive rule book, so we don't need to go through every bullet point, but
Oh,
any big ones that you're like, oh,
well, are we talking about like the game rules or like the tournament rules?
the turn. I guess either for the next round of DLCs. I just saw that competitive play kind of they sort of updated, right?
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
in the tournament rules now, there's a new. Um, we've been using the shorthand, call it REL, REL, which means rules enforcement level.
Mhm.
So you'll see soon, again, knock on wood that this PCG hits sometime soon. But all the DLCs will be run at something called a premier level. So now instead of just casual competitive, we'll have casual competitive and premier. And
Okay.
what that means as well is that, and I don't know anything of, like, I'm waiting to read the new PCG once it comes out, but
Mhm.
a lot of people have been asking, hey, we think that the tournament rule or the play corrections guidelines are too lenient, right?
Oh.
So that might mean that when we hit premier level, that it's a bit more strict. It might mean that, like, hey, instead of like, oh, this person got a slap on the wrist 3 times and they were fine, it might be like, well, you can only get 1 slap on the wrist now, right?
I kind of like that. I kind of because it's like at the high levels, right? Like
Hmm.
I think you should be held to a higher standard because it's a larger, bigger event. So yeah, I don't. I think I agree with that. I mean, it'll be more reading for me, which I'm not the biggest fan. but but yeah, interesting. Okay, so the word's out on it, but we don't have all the details yet of what this
Right.
premiere
Like
level will kind of look like.
yeah. And then I think they changed a few of the rules regarding, like, if you're in top cut and you go to time and the end of turn stuff. But that's just something to look into the tournament rules for that. They did add that for premier level events, it is always going to be modified play draw, which means the higher seed always gets the option to pick, which is kind of a
Mm,
cool thing. Not, I know a lot of stores locally for us would run that way anyways, but
yeah,
it's good to see that, like, in the rules. And then the tournament rules itself, now that we're back to best of 3 format, they mentioned best of 3 format and how to really run those events. So just things to look
okay.
at.
Okay. And I'm assuming the casual is like I'm going in for a casual night, whatever. Like
Yeah.
competitive would then be like this is set champs. We're taking
Hmm.
it a little more seriously here. And
Exactly.
then yeah, and then premier level would that just I mean, in your estimation, would that be DLC's CCQs, or do you think that like the like a 10K or a 5K that might happen would also be held to that
Well,
standard?
it's all going to be on the tournament organizer, right?
Ah, gotcha.
So the tournament organizer could, straight up say, "Hey, we're going to run this 10K at casual," and if that's really what they want, right? Um,
Yeah,
but obviously, the tournament organizer can say, "Hey, we want to run this at competitive, or we want to run this at premier," and they can do that. That's all within their rights to do it. It's going to be kind of more on a case by case, like, what they want. But obviously, we know that most of them are just going to run it as premier, just to have when they have such huge prizes on the line, they want to make it as they want to ensure the integrity of the event as much as possible.
gotcha. And I think in wrapping up here, thank you so much again for your time here. I I listened to some of the other podcasts you've been on. I know that you played Pokemon. I know that you played Yu-Gi-Oh. You dabbled in some Magic and WoW TCG, and then sort of the judging aspect of it came out in Magic. Was it you started kind of?
A bit, like a bit in every game that I've played.
Oh wow.
Really. So, for Yu-Gi-Oh, I used to run the store level events at my local store. Um,
Oh.
Shout out to Cartoon Field in the Merino Valley Mall back way back in the early 2000s.
Let's go.
And then same for Magic. You know, when I got into Magic for a bit, I started doing just like learning the rules and then helping, you know, run the Friday Night Magic stuff and then giving out rules when people ask for them, stuff like that.
So what was it that drew you to the judging aspect of it all? Because you still, even now, as a judge for Lorcana, maybe one of the most recognizable in all of Lorcana, you still play. You still get down.
Mhm.
You still go and jam out games. I see you, you know, posting about when you do. I don't know where you find the time, by the way, as you, everybody can hear. You're a family man. You got stuff going on, but and you still find the time to go out and play. Like, was there something specific that got you into the judging aspect? Was there something that kind of stuck out to you? I guess.
I think one of the things, like I said, I just want to make sure the game's played fairly. I really, you know, in TCGs, there's and anything, any aspect in life, there's always the people who abuse certain rules, abuse facets of things to make themselves feel like they can get ahead. And ensuring that doesn't happen in my space is really important to me. Ensuring there's no bullying or ensuring there's no coercion or any of that kind of stuff, and then knowing how to react to that in the space, and then, you know, give the judgments or tell the stores even their rights, because, you know, there's hobby store policies and stuff like that. Like, um, ensuring the environment is safe for everybody is really important for me, and that's why I like judging, because that's part of that, right? That's just making sure that everyone is, again, having a fun time and just playing Disney Lorcana.
Yeah, you get to be a party host in a way.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you like how often do you get out to go play? And I mean, how does it change at all for you as a judge, knowing, like, you know what I mean? Like, does that change the aspect of play at all for you, or
It's
one way or
it's
another?
funny to me. It doesn't really change the aspect. I will say, like, immediately there are certain things where, you know, as a judge, as someone who reads the cards and knows all about the cards, like even last night I had a player, I was playing against him. He's like, and he's playing in like this illusion deck, and he plays the Sultan, which says like whenever one of your illusions quests, you can exert a character. And he's like, okay, then I quested this treasure guardian, and I'm gonna exert that. I was like, well, treasure guardian's not an illusion. And he's like, wait, what? And, you know, um, but I think the aspect of it, of people like, oh, well, Phil's the judge, is funny, because a lot of players, and I hate this, but a lot of
Yeah.
players are like, oh, I have to play Phil. He knows he's so good at it. I'm like, guys, there's a reason why I judge. It's because I don't know I'm not that good at the game. If I was good at the game, I'd make more money playing the game, right? But in all reality, I play like twice a week. I have two different locals that I play at, that are just like casual locals. One is a really casual, friendly, fun area to play, called Board Game Paradise in Redlands. Just a really chill place, very friendly. Love to get players involved there, because it's just a nice 3-round relaxing kind of night to play.
Yeah,
And
I've been
then
there.
Top Choice is my other locals, where uh, we play, you know, every Thursday night we play a pretty heavy competitive, you know, try to win some packs that week and have fun. So, but definitely, like, yeah, that's one of the things where, like, being the rules guy, it's kind of funny to me, because like people are like, oh, I have to play just from, like, guys, just I'm just a dude. I'm just a dude.
Yeah.
When we're at the table, I'm just a dude. You know.
And in that vein, as just a dude Phil, right? Because there's the two versions. As Lorcana enthusiast Phil, is your family into it? Are you more of a collector? Do you fancy yourself more of a player? Like, Does your family get involved at all? Or are they
No,
into
so
it? Yeah.
my like my wife and I are both Disney people. Um,
Gotcha.
but she doesn't like competitive card games because she feels like, oh, well, I'll just sit there and read the rules or read the cards. I'm gonna take too long, stuff like that. I'm just like, just play. And my daughter is she's 6. She, she's not into card games really. It's funny though because she's really into Pokemon right now. So she'll ask me like she'll like know that I'm going to go work a Lorcana event. She'll be like, well, can you get me Pokemon cards? And I'm like, all right, I'll see what a vendor has. Um, but yeah, for me, any hobby that I get into, I really kind of dive deep. So like I'm a huge collector. I have can't see behind me, but because it's all blurred out, but I have, play sets of every card. I have a foil of every card. I have all enchanted from 1 through 8, sets 1 through 8,
Whoa.
and I have most of set 9 done already. I just picked up a Dumbo last night, so
Yo, the enchanted one?
yeah, yeah.
Woo,
Oh
that's
no, it sent me
big.
back. I traded I had an extra Max Goof and I saw the Dumbo in the case and I said, I was like, hey, how much is this gonna cost me if I trade this in? They were like 270, and I was like, all right. Let's do it.
Dude, that
So
Dumbo looks so good,
it
by the
does
way.
all
It's unfair.
it's insane to me because the enchanteds from set 9, just the embellishments and stuff they have on them now, they look so good. Like every enchanted is like, doesn't matter the card, it just looks so good.
That gold, the gold
Yeah,
that they're
yeah.
putting on there, dude, the Pongo even.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've seen the Pongo. It's gorgeous. I
Yeah.
was like, yo, they really stepped it up.
The Max Scoop looks so good.
It
The
does.
Hades is fire. I mean, he's on
Ooh, I
fire.
haven't
The
seen one
Hades
in person
is
yet. It
fire.
looks so good. Well, he is the king of the underworld.
Mhm.
It's got to be fire. Phil, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you taking time out. You're always running around. You're going weekend to weekend. You're doing all this stuff, and you got a whole family at home, and you juggle it all perfectly, man.
I couldn't do it without my wife. My wife is so supportive. She's so proud of my journey into Lorcana. Right? If I was just a player, I think she'd be much more upset with me. But knowing that like I'm building this whole like pseudo hobby career, and expanding this, and seeing my advancement as a judge through this, she's so she's proud of me, and I couldn't do this without her because she does take on a lot of the parenting while I'm out. I've been traveling like once a month, every month now. We go from like Worlds to uh, Denver. I don't even remember Gen Con. I went to Gen Con, working that one, to like
Yeah.
PPG Denver. Now it's Milwaukee next month. It's SCG Con Vegas in November. It's probably PPG Orlando in December, and then it's Richmond in January. So it's just back to
Right.
back to back.
And in between, the people who don't live in SoCal and don't see you all the time don't even realize also during set champ season, you're all over the place too.
Oh yeah.
You're doing it locally. So I mean, dude, you're just you really are. You're a staple of the SoCal Lorcana community as a
I had
whole, man.
for October, I had one day open, which was the 19th of October, which
Yeah.
is the day before my birthday.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, cool, I'm going to spend that with family. And I had a store go, hey, can you work this day? and I, and I feel like this is a trap because I told my wife and she goes, well, if that's what you want to do for your birthday. And I was like, But yeah, I'm working a lot.
Yeah, man, you're putting in the hours, you're hustling, you're grinding, you're doing the thing, brother. It's I gotta say, for those of you who are listening, watching, who have never been at an event with Phil, I always have the biggest smile on my face to see you because you really do. I can feel it emanating off of you. Exactly what you said. Just this idea of you want it to be a welcoming, very open place and all of it. And even from the first day we met you, and it was like my wife and I are just getting into this TCG thing, and you're this judge that we're like, oh my gosh, we don't want to make any wrong mistakes. Incredibly welcoming, incredibly cool. So, SoCal, and I mean the greater now. I'm so happy that it's catching on, and you've caught on with all of the PPG and all of the CCQs and the DLCs. And are there any other 3-letter things that we need to add to this? Anyways, Phil, you are such a kind soul, and I appreciate you so much, man. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out? Is there anything that you'd like to, any events or anything that you want to shout out? This is your time, man. Like,
Oh gosh,
yeah, let the good
there's a
people
billion.
know.
I mean, first and foremost, like Top Choice Gaming in Redlands, one of the best stores out here. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to become a judge. Really, like they allowed me to work with them, work on their events, and start. That was really the start of my craft there.
Yeah.
And then we have an event this Sunday. Will be a 2K guaranteed. So Brand, I was actually gonna message you about that. I don't know if you want to cast it, but we might have an opening for that. I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's a lot of events that we're planning around for them. And IE-Enchanted, again, if you're looking for stuff in SoCal, IE-Enchanted.com. That's where you'd find everything in SoCal. And big shout out to my partner in crime, my friend Lorcana Fran. You've met her before. Yeah, she's just a great content creator in the space who's been doing a lot of stuff in SoCal and making it work in SoCal, and just being a great friend to me and helping me like get connected with different things. Like her and I now working on the IE Enchanted, like we have this whole network of casters, and we have a network of artists, and we have all these things going on, and trying to get SoCal. We're just trying to get SoCal to be as pinnacle as it can, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's just insane how much work we're putting in to get everything coordinated and going. So
y'all are doing a fantastic job. Shout outs, Lorcana Fran. Love to see you. We ran into her at Disneyland when we were going for the Belle and the Beast and all that stuff. But where can the good people find you, man? Where's your preferred space for people to connect with you if they have judging queries, if they want to? Yeah,
I am so bad at social media, like so bad at social media. But my Instagram is IEE_Phil. My Twitter handle is the same thing. And then like my Blue Sky, I think, is Judge Phil. And I mean, honestly, if you ever have any questions, please reach out to me on either Instagram or come onto our Discord, the IE Enchanted Discord, which you can find a link at the bottom of the IE-Enchanted.com website. So
fantastic. You heard it here first, folks. Go follow Phil. But maybe don't expect 1 million posts a day. Phil, thank you so much, man. We gotta have you back on when Garrick's available too. And
anytime.
Yeah, we gotta get that going. Have a good one, and until next time, everybody, we'll quest you later. That's growing on me. I just came up with that 2 weeks ago. It's growing on. All right.
Quest
See
on.
everybody. Quest on. I like that better. Quest on. We'll just keep changing it. All right. Peace out, everybody.